Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing some tech tips and wiring details to my Can-Am X3. One of them is going to be some rear brake lights on the rear fascia that are powered by these red rock lights from Baja Designs. Also, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do the poor man's version of the push-to-talk, but actually keeping it clean and making it look nice. Let me show you guys how I set these up. So this is the rear fascia of the X3. The exhaust comes out here. So I put two Baja Designs rock lights. I drilled two small holes for the wiring. You can barely see it, but it looks clean. So they should be brighter than the cheapo ones that I had before. It's pretty simple. They give you bolts and nuts in the kit. I just drilled some holes, mounted the lights. It should be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I ran this wiring through this hole here, drilled a couple holes, and just passed it through. You can't see that on the other side, so no worries there. So we'll solder this piece of wire here, and then on this half, we'll have a connector ready, and that's gonna mate up to my brake and ground wire that I have here that I just pretty much just jumped off the harness from the tail lamp. So that's gonna power my two brake lights here, just so I can have some extra brake lights. All right guys, so this is a wire that I'm using. It's a 20 gauge wire. Should be plenty for these rock lights. I mean, the rock lights are freaking like 24 gauge or whatever they are. And I like this wire because it's molded together, and it's a lot easier to run through, you know, cages or just running wire in general. This is a lot less hassle when it comes to fumbling the wire around. So on this side I already stripped the ends, so we're gonna spread this a little bit so we can put some heat shrink first, and then we'll twist it on this wire and then we'll solder it. All right, got my heat shrink on. Then we'll just twist the two wires for the rock lights, so red with red. The reason I like to solder versus using butt connectors, there seems to be a longer lasting connection, less chance of water getting in, and a much more solid connection versus relying on the physical crimp. So we got here is a little cheapo butane torch, but it works really good. These are hit and miss. The last one I had didn't work very good, and they're like 30 bucks. The more expensive ones are a lot nicer. I used to have one made by a Power Probe, I believe. It was really good. I'll leave a link in the description for that one. The solder that we're using is just rosin core solder. It works really great, especially for, you know, automotive wiring applications. So that's all it really takes, just a little bit of solder, it'll melt in. You guys can see here how that kind of just melted in. And we'll just put the heat shrink over the top, like so. And that one's pretty much done. I just gotta, you know, use the torch, but we'll go ahead and do the other side. So now that we have this bundle of wire, I wanna keep this nice and clean, so we're gonna use some nylon braid. This is, I believe, 1/4 inch. Let's see here. Yeah, 1/4 inch. And we're gonna feed it onto the wire. But before we do that, we're gonna put one of these heat shrinks on, because we're gonna heat shrink the end so it's nice and clean. And also, when you cut a piece of nylon braid, you also gotta heat the ends, because if not, they start spreading. So that keeps it from spreading. So we'll run the wire in there. So now I can feel out where the wire is at. It's gonna end somewhere around here. And that's pretty much just enough where I want it. So when you guys are doing this kind of stuff, make sure to always use your heat shrink. Don't forget it, because this is gonna go on the very end, just like that. And you guys can see how clean that looks. It just wires off. And we'll just use the torch, heat that up. Be careful not to heat the nylon, because it tends to melt real easy. We'll figure out how to mount this so it doesn't move a lot. But right now I'm just trying to figure out how much length of wire I need. I know where the connector is on my car. It's right about where this bolt location is, so this is a little long. But that might be okay, because I might figure out how to, you know, tape it in here or hot glue it so it doesn't move, and that's probably what I'm gonna do. And then on this side I gotta put a connector on it, which is gonna be really simple as well. So I'm gonna be using these JR Ready connectors. They seem to be pretty well made. I really like the details in them. They are kind of expensive, but they are really nice, and they're weatherproof. There is a special tool that you need. I did not realize that. I should have purchased it. So I'm just gonna solder them, and they should be fine. But if you do buy these type of connectors, make sure you get the tool. It'll make your life a lot easier when it comes to crimping. You can see the color that they have on here for the proper crimping section that the tool might have. So definitely get the right tool for the job, because this one is not it. I'll try to link it for you guys, but it's gonna have to do for now, and then I'll just solder it. All right guys, so that's definitely not the way to do it, but with the solder it ain't gonna go anywhere. So once you get that done, you're gonna go ahead and grab your connector, which in this case will be this guy. I'm gonna go figure out which side is red and which side is black, and then we'll slap that on, and we'll figure out how to secure this to the panel. Put that through the connector. And that's that. So I like that. These connectors are really nice. It's just I didn't have the right tool, but besides that, we got the heat shrink, and that's gonna come out really clean right there. We'll heat that up, and look how clean that is. I mean, this is like a factory style harness.
Great success.
So now the only problem I'm gonna have is trying to figure out how to make it come out just about right there where this bolt hole is at. I'll probably leave it somewhere like this. I'm thinking of just cleaning it really good, and then maybe just using some hot glue in this crevice, because I don't want to drill any holes, and I don't think you know, double-sided tape or anything like that is gonna work. So, but either way, I gotta make sure it stays in there, because the exhaust is right here. Probably use a little bit of alcohol, and I think I just hot glue right there, honestly. Let me know what you guys think. Should I have done this a different way, or? All right, we'll let that dry. I'll mount it up, screw it up, and turn on the brake light so you guys can check it out. All right, my lovely assistant is gonna help me. Babe, hit it. Woo! Those are a lot brighter than the other ones I had. They look a lot better, and they're pretty bright. I like, it's like little devil eyes looking at you. That looks really good. That's just a little touch, a little detail that my X3 is gonna have versus someone else's. And for me, that looks great, and I think it's gonna do awesome for people behind me. So we're gonna move on to the steering wheel. Before we do that, I want to mention this to you guys. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you would have saw this, but I'm trying to mount one of these pack out systems to my bed. I just got to get some hardware, maybe some spacers in certain spots, but I think that'd be a really cool idea. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'm still contemplating it. Some people were saying when you put a red box, it's gonna look ugly, which is true, but I do want to put a box that I could lock on here for certain reasons, like for if I'm going riding and I want to take the drone out, I want to be able to put the drone in a foam case, or my other GoPros in a foam case, because I don't want anything getting damaged, because, you know, obviously that stuff being in, you know, one of my door bags is just gonna get banged around, and I'd rather have it in a foam case. And I think that would be perfect for me specifically, because, you know, I'm doing all the riding content and YouTube things. So let's move on to the steering wheel.
It's about to go down.
All right, guys, so I know there's kits out there to do a push-to-talk system straight from, you know, Rugged Radios or PCI, and that's great, but I can't afford the full, you know, in-dash intercom and radio system. It's not in the budget, and I have the poor man's version, which is pretty much a Rugged Radios with their moto kit. I think this runs something like 250 bucks, and the moto kit includes this handlebar mount for push-to-talk, which has been okay. I used to have it on my door when I quickly found out, especially in Glamis, that I needed it on my steering wheel. So this is pretty much a hack-it-yourself version of that I'm doing myself. Is this the best way? Maybe not. Maybe it's just easier to get the kit, especially for you guys that, you know, aren't into all this trickery of wiring and soldering and destroying, and yeah, so this may not work for you. You may not want to do it this way, but I thought I'd show it off for some of you guys that are, you know, nerds like me. So first things first, I kind of want to show you guys what I did as far as wiring when it comes to this steering wheel. So this is an NRG steering wheel. It's got a quick release on it, very similar to the Assault version. I made a video on how to install a NRG quick release. Old video, really long time ago, but I'll link it down below. Don't laugh at me if I suck on that video, but it is what it is. And I got two wires already coming out here, and it's actually coming out for the horn. If you guys can see, it's actually coming out of the hub. Let's see here. It's coming out of the hub right there. So I grounded down a little section just for the wire to pass. Those two wires go to this horn button. I haven't seen anybody with a steering wheel on a UTV that has a horn button. No one is really doing it. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but I haven't paid attention. So those two wires go to the horn, and then we're gonna have to run two wires to this actual push-to-talk switch. And this is gonna go straight to this here, which is pretty much my adapter that's gonna take the place of the push-to-talk switch that came with my Rugged Radios kit. So we're not gonna use this switch no more. We'll put this aside. This is the moto kit that they give you, which is great. All I gotta do is pretty much, you know, extend these wires into this guy. So and to do that, I need something that's gonna spiral and move with the steering wheel as I'm turning. So I got this walkie-talkie 4-terminal I don't know, pigtail, whatever you want to call this. Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out how to make this work. And I already kind of started. I started taking stuff apart. Once you pull the sleeve back, you can see that the wires are exposed and the terminals are just sitting there waiting for you to solder them. So what I'm gonna do is cut them off from here. This portion, I want it to come out of my dash. That way, this portion will be on the opposite side of the steering wheel, and I can plug in, quick release or quick install my steering wheel, and I'm good to go. I could quick release off and just, you know, twist this off and pull it off my center console, which is gonna be this guy. So pretty simple, I think. I don't know, this might not even make it in the video. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to unsolder this, take these wires off, take it apart, figure out how to put this in the dash, and then we're gonna run 4 wires. Actually, this harness here that would take off this bung, those wires are gonna go straight to the back of the switch and to this chingadera here. We're gonna have to figure out how to zip tie this here so it's nice and secure. So, all right, so this is gonna be a tricky one, but I'm pretty sure we're just gonna cut this off here. Nothing special, I don't think. I'm just hoping I'm gonna be able to solder onto this, which I really don't know if I'm gonna be able to do, but you gotta try, right? So, cut these off. All right, so that's gonna be separate. Now this is gonna come off as well. This is gonna be in my dash. And then this guy is gonna go to the wires on the back of the steering wheel, these 2 controls, the horn and the push talk, and this is gonna be plugging into the dash. So in theory, it's a great idea. Is it gonna work? No freaking clue. So now that I'm pulling this apart, I'm already regretting it because one of these wires is bare. It's not even shielded, which is not good. But I think it'll still work as long as I use it for the push to talk side, because the push to talk doesn't require any power or ground. It's just pretty much closing a circuit. So what I'm thinking is, if I drill the dash this diameter and just force the slip over, it might be on there pretty snug. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. So I'll get back to you in just a second. All right, so using a drill bit 31/64, I drilled it to the side here. Doesn't interfere with my switches, which is great. It's kind of hidden, and I'll still be able to plug this in just fine. Twist it on once the other pieces are there, obviously, and this will go to the steering wheel, which I think is going to work out perfect. And I like it because it's kind of hidden, and potentially if it didn't work, the hole wouldn't be too visible. So let's go ahead and do the wiring for the steering wheel, and yeah, we'll hopefully have working controls in a second. All right, for the steering wheel, we're gonna make sure we got to use some heat shrink. Hopefully this works. I mean, it should in theory. So I think I'll shorten up this wire a little bit, make it a little bit shorter. We'll solder it down here somewhere, and we'll heat shrink both. So let's do it. All right guys, before we continue any further, do not try this. This was a giant pain in the butt. The wire is way too thin to work with, and then one of the wires is bare, not even insulated, which sucks. Just forget about it. We're gonna see if it works, just because it's my own personal vehicle, but I don't recommend you guys do this. You guys can get the kit or just use the strap-on button that goes strapped onto your steering wheel. Do that, it'll be great. This is, I mean, I'm sure it's gonna work. I'm gonna make it work, but total pain in the ass, not worth the time and effort.
Midnight.
All right guys, if you're still watching, this was totally not worth it. The wires in this thing are way too thin, so I don't recommend it for any of you guys. With that said, I am gonna make it work. I got the wires going to the switch. We'll leave those there for a second. I'm gonna put some hot glue to keep the wire from moving, to keep it nice and solid. The nylon braid is gonna hold on to the hub on both sides, and that's gonna be where it's gonna tug from to keep it, you know, from ripping apart. Excuse me. Once I hot glue that, I can put the steering wheel back on and solder the switch back on for the freaking horn. How about we just fast forward to hopefully it working. All right guys, let's see what we got here. Push to talk, horn, and you can see how I routed it. So most of the pulling, this I feel is gonna be a weak spot. So what I did is I made sure that the wire going towards the horn, which had the stronger pieces of wire, gets hot glued right there. And if it gets pulled at all, it's pretty, you know, pretty stiff. And the nylon braid helps hold that together. You know, this, although it's gonna be perfect for me, it's a big giant pain in the ass. So don't even try, guys. But still, I wanna get it to work, and that's what I'm gonna do. And we'll show you guys the final product as soon as I wire this guy and the 4 wires that I need to this harness. So this other harness, you know what I mean. Pain in the butt, don't do it. On the harness side, I just pretty much soldered the wires. There's this rubber that goes in there. I'm putting a little bit of hot glue in there just to keep it nice and tight. We'll shove it through the connector that I put in the dash, finish up my connections, and then we'll test it. All right guys, so this is pretty much a super custom setup. I didn't know if it was gonna work. And it does, but it's almost 1 o'clock. Wasted way too much time on this thing. But I got the horn working, and I also got the push to talk. It's gonna be hard to tell, but you can see it light up when I push the button. So yes, it works. This wire is nice and secure, as you can see there, and it's secured right there. Obviously I would have to twist it on and off, but so does it work? Yes, it works great, honestly. Is it gonna be reliable? I would hope so. When I turn the steering wheel, the coil seems to coil just over once and then goes back. It's pretty free. The part that's glued to the back of the steering wheel doesn't seem like it's gonna come off that hard easily, but this is off-road, so it may. Definitely, this is one of those ones where I'm gonna tell you guys, don't try this. This is me going off my whim and just trying to figure something out. And although it works, it ain't the prettiest, but that's what happens when you're on a budget. Budget rugged radios, budget horn on your steering wheel, and that's the end of this video. The Fat Rooster, he had mentioned one time, I make it look so easy. This is one of those ones that just whoop my ass, and it doesn't always go as planned. And for you guys out there doing your stuff on your own, this is what happens sometimes. So don't get down on your luck. I know I'm not. Anyways, see you guys next time. Peace out. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike this video, you suck.